All right, so JK, we should be live now.
Okay.
And it looks like we've got some folks joining, which is awesome. If you are joining us, please let us know where you are joining from. Welcome to Design Thinking in Project Land. It is 9 p.m. here in Florida, where I'm sitting. And JK, where are you and what time is it?
It's 9 a.m. in Singapore.
9 a.m. in Singapore, 9 p.m. here in Florida Keys. So let us know where you are and where you're joining from, and even maybe what time it is. If you're not on the East Coast or in Singapore, let us know where you are and what time it is. That'd be wonderful to just get to know you and where you are. And also, we would love to know why you are here. Why you are here, because you signed up for this. Over 150 people said they would like to attend tonight or this morning, depending on where you are. And we just want to know why. Why are you here? And we will be taking questions live later in the program and perhaps throughout the program, if as long as I can see the questions pop in time. And we'd love to know, why you're here, what you'd like to get out of this, even if it's just some free PDUs. If you're a PMP and you need those professional development units, that's a fine reason to join us tonight or this morning. So please let us know why you're here. And I see that some of you are already letting us know you're here from Mauricio in San Diego, Dustin in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've got Rizka in Indonesia, 8 a.m. in Indonesia, early. We have an early bird here, very ambitious professionals here from everywhere. So that's great. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time with us here at the Project Guru Academy, please let me know that. Welcome, welcome to you. If you are a repeat offender or a part of our community already, welcome back. We're always happy to see new faces and faces that that are part of the community. So welcome, welcome to everybody. And as folks come in, please share where you are and why you're here. So what we're doing today is we are talking about design thinking in Project Land. And I happen to be known for coining the term Project Land pretty much by accident, because as someone who speaks a lot about projects, I was trying to explain to some new folks who were new to the world of projects that the project world is completely different than the world of operations, because I believe that organizations really only do two things: projects and operations. So I started to call it Project Land, and I would say, welcome to Project Land, because crazy things happen here, because based on the definition of a project, projects are unique. And that means in the history of the world, nobody has ever done this before. In this time, in this place, with these people, something makes the project unique. And that means some interesting creatures might pop up at you in Project Land. There should be intense terrain to climb. You usually have a goal to achieve on the clock. So the clock is always ticking in Project Land. So it's really can be an intense place. I think it's a wonderful place to have a career, Project Land. So that's why we have sessions like this to help new folks and folks who are experienced in the world of projects to navigate it with the help of the gurus. So JK is one of those gurus. So whether you have joined us before in Project Land, you're experienced, you have your PMP or not, don't worry, we are going to make this learning fast and fun for everyone. And please do, put in the chat, if you haven't already, where you are and why you're here. We'd love to know that, and even what time it is. I'm here in Florida at 9 p.m. and JK is in Singapore at 9 a.m. We see plenty of other folks joining from all over the place. So thank you for doing that. I'm your host today, Dawn Mahan. I am a PMP, which means I have for many, many years now had to get free PDUs from anywhere I could. So if you're here doing that, congratulations and welcome. I'm glad we can serve you and help you get those PDUs to keep your PMP certification. It is very hard to get, which I can appreciate, having also helped many people get their PMPs. And now at the Academy, we have other trainers as well that do that. And we can help you get your PMP if you're so inclined. And as you can see here, I also invented Project Flow, which can help you get your PMP or your CAPM, or just simply learn the Project Management Institute process via a game. And I also now have a new class on Udemy, and Ricardo, our producer, if you're interested, can put some links in there. If your employer has a Udemy account and you can get Udemy courses for free through your employer, you can get it for free right now. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And it is a Welcome to Project Land, project management and agile course. And I'm really, really excited about it. Worked with the pros at Udemy in California. So I see some of you are joining from California to make that happen. It was a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. It's like the best of series from some of my work in Project Land over the many years. And I'm working on a book called Welcome to Project Land. And another way to get free PDUs, everybody, is to join our Book Insider VIP crew, where you can help me give feedback on the book, help me make it better, and get your name in the book. So if you would like to do that, please also put that in chat, and we can put you on the VIP list to be invited to a session with me, a private session with me, where you can get PDUs for contributing for free and help me out and get your name in a book. So that's just a little bit about some of what we have going on, and I personally have going on in Project Land. And JK, I'm so excited that you are here with me. We finally got to do this, right? And we're joining, we can do this instead of in person, which we had hoped, right? But this is just as good for now. So, and you have more to tell us about your journey in becoming a design thinking guru, which I want to hear shortly. But certainly JK has lots of experience working with the clients that you see here, working, internationally as an international speaker, and also just a wonderful, wonderful man. So thank you for being here with us. And you can see we have his LinkedIn, you can hit the button there and immediately get connected with JK on LinkedIn. So he welcomes your connections on LinkedIn there with his QR code.
Yes.
Yay. So welcome.
So thank you, Dawn, for inviting me for this session, and I really appreciate it, and it's wonderful. So just to share a bit of my journey very quickly. I know Dawn from 8 years ago, and we just have a chat. It was only like maybe 4 or 5 years ago we had a chat. Say, hey, Dawn, what you doing? Project management. I said, what you doing? Design thinking. So we were sharing, and we realized that there's a lot of synergy that you could use. So we came up with this idea of a design thinking in project management, how design thinking can help project managers and the project management office to do better. So my journey with design thinking, for many years, I was an entrepreneur, technopreneur. I survived cancer in 2009. Then I came across design thinking in 2015. That's about 7-8 years ago. And I also realized that Singapore government was pushing very hard. So I was one of the early certified facilitators for design thinking in Singapore back in 2015. And today in Singapore, it's used everywhere. In the Ministry of Manpower, the Ministry of Communication, the banks, the F&B outlets, and so on and so forth. And so I've been doing design thinking workshops. I also did, the last 2 years, I've been doing design thinking to design your life or business after 50. So I was targeting the people who are looking for a second career or second life. And that's where I started telling Dawn about it, and she said, hey, why don't we just get together and do this project management and design thinking? And so today is just an introduction. So we have workshops that we do on an ongoing basis. Every quarter we do a workshop. So we'd like to invite you to join us if you're interested, or if you want to find out more, you can either contact Dawn or myself. And in the last 2 years, I also taken another step. I got myself certified as a professional certified coach under the International Coaching Federation. So I can coach you in project management, I can coach you in design thinking. And I also am very interested to look into design thinking in many different areas of our life, right? Our professional as well, our business life, and so on and so forth. So that's my journey so far. So I'm also interested to hear from you guys if you have any comments as I go through. So today is just a very quick overview of design thinking on how you can use it. So if you want to know more, then we can tell you more. You can feel to ask questions. So today is about what is design thinking, who is using design thinking, why, how, and then how do we become design thinkers, right? So like as Don said, you can get PDUs for just listening to us. Okay.
Yeah, and as JK just invited you to do, please let us know what your questions are in the chat, and we will try to address them as we go. As long as they come in, there is a little bit of a delay, like the radio, so we don't always see them right away. But we will catch them all at the end. If we don't catch them while we're chugging along here in the session, we will catch them at the end. So please do ask your questions and let us know if you have used design thinking and you're here because you love design thinking, or if you're here because you are new to design thinking and you think, hey, maybe this is a technique that I need to have in my toolkit. So is it A, you just already love it and are bought in, or B, you are looking for new techniques? We'd love to hear from you. And sort of where you are in your journey. So thanks for sharing your story, JK. I mean, I think we met in Los Angeles in 2015 at an authors conference or something.
Correct.
And
yes, it was.
you were getting an award for, being in a book. And so, yeah, I just really loved your energy right away. And then my dream came true and I got to actually see you in Singapore in 2019,
yes,
because I was in Indonesia and Malaysia working, and I see we have folks from Indonesia on the line as well. So I was in Jakarta working over there. And then I stopped in and saw you, and we went to some beautiful, speaking of design thinking, right? You took me to some amazing places in Singapore. And we did some video. We shot some video, which everybody can get on YouTube.
And at Changi Airport, we were astounded by the project that they did, right?
Yes.
So we were saying about project management in Changi Airport must be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the gardens by the bay were just spectacular. Yes. I mean, orchids, I have orchids here in Florida and they're tough, right? And we were there for the orchid exhibit, and I was just mesmerized and thinking about, how much project management and design thinking must have gone into.
Yeah, and it's still ongoing. The projects are still ongoing. It's scheduled to finish maybe in 5 years' time. So every other week there's something new. Yeah.
That's amazing. Wonderful. Okay. So everybody, you may see after this, it's like you can't unsee it anymore. You might start to see more of this as you're out and about and in your life, as JK said. Certainly project management helps us in life as well as at work. So it's one of those skills that can help us, manage some of the projects that hit us in life. And I see that Professor Jesse has joined from Penn State as well. So welcome, Professor. Thanks so much for joining. And so here we are. JK and I have come together because we really believe that project management and design thinking can be a beautiful partnership. On the project management side, which is where I live more often, we often talk about delivering projects on time, on budget, on scope, on quality, with a high degree of stakeholder satisfaction. And we certainly have to manage people and the processes and the resources to make projects work, right? And so take the design thinking part for me, JK.
Yeah, so design thinking is about getting solutions that meet the human desirability, is viable for the business, and its technical feasibility. So it cannot be just what I want. It has to be viable and has to be feasible. So that's why you have to come with a solution. And the way we put this slide together, Don and I put this slide together, is with the next animation, you can see that they integrate together. So if you have project management, with all these design thinking tools, understanding that there's business viability has to happen, technical feasibility, and of course user desirability, and of course you must satisfy stakeholders, right? So stakeholder is also something that is very key in design thinking. You need to look at the stakeholders requirement and what they're looking for, their KPIs, right? So with this, we find that it's very powerful, it's fully integrated, and it definitely can be used in any stage or any aspect of project management.
Yeah, and so we're going to learn more about that as we go through the conversation tonight. But first of all, let's just start with the basics, right? What is design thinking?
Okay, so design thinking is basically a methodology for problem solving complex solutions. So it's a human-centered collaborative approach, meaning you get together people of different backgrounds to solve problems, and it's using a design mindset to help the complex problems. So everyone comes in with a beginner's mindset. You don't assume that you know everything, assume that you know nothing, and then you start step by step solving the problems. So this code is written by an author, Tim Brown. He's the founder of IDEO. IDEO was the first design company that helped Apple come out with these wonderful products. So of course now Apple have their own design organization, so they don't need IDEO. But so IDEO was then, and Tim Brown actually wrote this book. I'm going to show you at the back here.
Okay.
This is the book I'll going to mention in the next slide.
Okay.
So this is a Change by Design book. So design thinking is basically a 5-step process. So the 5 steps process, this is endorsed by the Stanford Design School, the D School, they call it. So it's 4 steps: empathize. Empathize, you listen to the requirements of the user, the stakeholders' requirements, what they're looking for. You define, maybe you redefine the problem, because the initial question may be, oh, I want to get more sales. So, but the fundamental problem is not just sales. Maybe it's about, I want to find the niche product that can get me more sales. Sales is too general, so you redefine. And then in doing so, you brainstorm, you come up with different ideas to solve the problems. And once you have idea, you prototype, you create a small scale solution, and you can test it out with the users or the customer or the client base. And then finally, you test it out in a real environment. And then it's an iterative process. So that book I appeared there is the same book here, Change by Design. Okay.
Yeah, and so when we talked about this, when you were telling me first about design thinking many years ago now, I was like, oh, look, it looks a lot like Agile, right? Like there's,
yes.
some of it is very, very much, some of the Agilists would say, well, we do that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And there's certainly some overlap, but what I really love about the emphasis is the human part. That it's really about, it's the empathizing part and the human part at the beginning. A lot of times our tech friends in Agile need that friendly reminder service that it's really all about the humans in the end.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So I love that about design thinking, that it helps us.
So
more
where,
about, yes. So more about design thinking.
Yeah. So where design thinking is most useful, and in fact it's useful everywhere, right? It's how you use it, right? So it's most useful when the problem is not clearly defined, right? You ask someone, so what's the problem here? I don't really know, but something is wrong. So that can be used. So you more, as you interview the person, the client, the customer more and more, you find out more, you get down to the details and find out what's the real problem. And when it's a complex challenge, it's not just a simple solution, and the issue is not yet fully understood. So you uncover it as you go through the design thinking process. And there's also team goals, in the sense that it needs multidisciplinary skills, and of course, ambiguous and unclear. And fundamentally, design thinking needs creative confidence. Creative confidence can be learned, can be developed through exercise, and even through the whole design thinking process. So that's fundamentally what design thinking is. And these days, people are even talking about design thinking to design your life, your career, your business, your personal life, everything. So when I use it with coaching, I can even use design thinking to create a better personal life.
Yeah, and when we did our talk in the height of the pandemic, thanks to PMI Singapore hosting us, we did and
Yes.
part of the workshop about me, and you put me on the hot seat and about my vacation and what kind
Yes,
of
correct.
vacation I would want. And it was
Yes.
a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely,
So that was exactly it. So it was design thinking to design the best vacation experience for Don Mahan.
right.
Yes.
Because what's great for me on vacation might be very, very different than what would be great for, Brad, who's joined, or Jesse, or
Yes.
anyone else, right? So
Yes. Yes.
so that was a fun model that we used, and I think the group had a good time doing it too in the breakouts. So
Yeah.
some of you know about the PMBOK model thanks to the Project Management Institute, and those of you who are PMPs know this, love this, and know that there's something missing here around the outside. So the PMI says that the process is initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling now, and closing. And then in Agile, we're doing it all the time in smaller cycles, right? The planning. And what JK just went through on the previous slide, we always end up in project land having complex challenges and issues we don't fully understand. And we'll have to work. The most complex projects are the ones that involve different departments. So you've got that multidisciplinary approach. When I saw this at first, I was like, yes, project managers need this in their toolkit, right? Because we see that all the time. And so how does this model that we talk about for project managers map to design thinking?
Okay, so when you think about the 5 phases again, right? The empathize, define, ideate, test, and prototype and test. So empathize, define, ideate, most applicable when in the initiating and planning process, right? And in the execution, monitoring, and closing is the test and prototype. And when you do test and prototype, it's an iterative process. You prototype, test, feedback, test, prototype, feedback, and goes on and on. So it closely resembles, slowly mirrors the PMBOK model here. So that's how we look at things. Yeah. And of course, it can be used in any aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a deep dive of what you will cover in our workshop. So in our workshop, we will cover a lot of the details of this double diamond for problem solving, and this actually mirrors the design thinking approach. So you discover, define, and you develop, deliver. So you diverge, converge, right? When you first diverge when you try to look at all the possible scenarios. What's this problem all about? Then you converge on a solution, and then you diverge again by looking at the different ways to prototype, and then you converge again by zooming in on the actual solution. So in our workshops, we'll cover a lot of this, and it's a 3 to 4 day workshop. We can either compress it, and it can be done online as well. So if you find difficulty traveling with this pandemic, or you don't want to travel, you like to do. So we have done this online before, so it's not a problem. And we can have multi cameras in our setup. I have a overhead camera here. I can show you what I'm actually doing, and I have a side camera, and we can do all sorts of wonderful things. So it can be done, not a problem, even though it's online. So
yeah, and what's interesting to me about this as a PMO person, right, a project management office person, is I'm always saying that in the PMO we need to select the right projects so that we do the right things. So that's on the left side. Right. And then the project managers, that's the governance and portfolio management work we do. That's about figuring out what are the right things to do. So the organization decides that, right? And aligned up to strategy and so forth. And then the project management takes over, and we need to do those right things right. So when I saw this, I was like, again, more evidence that these things all fit together.
Yeah. And one more thing to add also in our workshop, we have design thinking in project management, or design thinking fast start, just to get you immersed into design thinking or used to the fact of using design thinking. So in that session, we have one module where we invite you to bring your problem in, and together we help to solve that problem. We put everything on the spot, we don't just say this is the theory, we show how it's being done.
Yeah, we like action.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about how design thinking is really focused on the humans, right? And I just love this, especially this one with the
so this speaks about we need to have that beginner's mindset as a child inquisitive, you want to inquire, you want to find out more. So that's why we put out the chart to show the emotion behind it. So design thinking is about the people we're designing for and people we're designing with. You work with people with multidisciplinary skills. And no matter what methodology you use in project management, when you apply the user design or design thinking process, the team and people are everywhere. So this also speaks to project management, right? You got to get a group of people to work together for a common goal to solve the project on time, within scope, and within budget, right? And the goal is to ensure that the right problem is solved. Often people can go off tangent and solve the wrong problem. So we need to make sure it's fixed at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where, project managers help keep us on track. So tell us about who is using design thinking, and a little clue here. It looks like the who's who of logos, doesn't it?
Yes. So the people who are actually using design thinking are actually market leaders in their own right, like Lego, right? Toys, right? Imagination, Philips, lighting, IDEO, design, and IBM and SAP. These are big companies. They actually have designed organizations within the company.
Wow.
So and SAP actually is a sponsor, a chief sponsor of the design school in Stanford, the Hasso-Plattner School, they call it.
Wow.
So the people using design thinking, you just look at the names, right? So healthcare, GE. I just pick a few highlights like retail, Nike, F&B, Uber Eats, travel and hospitality, Airbnb. Airbnb almost failed if not for design thinking.
Really?
Design thinking, yes. Because I'll tell you a story, and then there's also, of course, Braun, the Oral-B, and then into the areas that they do it in digital transformation, digitalization. This is all project management, right? When you go digitization or digital transformation, you need projects, right? You need project managers, PM officers, and all sorts. Business planning, even SAP and IBM, their business planning is based on design thinking.
So earlier you mentioned Apple, and look, yes. Everybody knows, it's like everybody in the world sees this and knows that we're talking about Apple, the company, right? Yes. To me, that's just incredible.
Yeah, it reminded me one time many years ago when I first went to the US, I didn't know. I walked into an Apple store. I told the guy, I want to buy this. Yes, how many do you want? Do you still have it? Yeah, I have it. And then later I asked them, how am I going to pay? Where's the cashier? They took out an iPad and started entering that. So that was definitely design thinking, right? They empathize with the client, make sure what they want, and they walk through you. They followed you instead of you looking for the cashier followed you. And once you decided on the purchase, they just do it. So the people at Apple, when they do design, they make sure that the designers want it. It's easy to use. Keep things simple, right? It's so easy to use. Even a 6-year-old boy or girl can use it, right? And then we only do it if we can do it better, and we must always be ahead of competition. That's why Apple is so successful today.
Yeah. And SAP, very different type of technology company. You can see this quote here. Tell us more about this.
Okay, so SAP, their founders started the design school with the Stanford. So that's the Stanford Design School. Hasso-Plattner Design School was named after the founder of SAP, one of the founders of SAP. And everywhere in SAP, I've met some people, everyone uses design thinking for sales planning, for marketing, the design of their products, everything. So it's truly embedded. So in fact, if I were to say there's a single organization that's a huge proponent of design thinking, that would be SAP. And
that
IBM,
was really surprising to me, to tell you the truth. Yeah,
it's underlined. They don't talk much about it in a big way, but it's fundamental to the way they operate. So why design thinking is important is to create innovation in product, service, experience design. So product design, service design, experience design. So fundamentally, it's about increasing revenue and reducing costs, right? Everything leads to that, right? Everything you do leads to increasing revenue and cost. And it was also mentioned by a Harvard Business Review, at design thinking is one of the key differentiators for organizations. So design-centric companies, this is a study done in 2016, Design Management Institute. So they found that the companies using design thinking outperform the other companies that were not by 211%.
That's incredible.
So it
Yeah.
shows that it's not just about I design something, but also about getting a revenue stream.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah,
just
so no,
theory. Yes.
yeah, so no wonder that some of the top companies that are, like you said, market leaders, are using design thinking, because
Yes.
the proof is there. And especially for any company that's a for-profit company, who doesn't want higher revenue and lower costs, right? I mean, we're in the business to make money in for-profit companies. But
Yeah.
even so, when we have a wonderful example coming up in a minute, we promised a case study, and one of my favorites is coming up in a moment. And so you can see that some of these very name brand companies are involved. Is there anything you want to call out here on?
Yeah. Let me just quickly spend a minute or two on this. So UPMC is University of Pittsburgh Medical School, Medical Center, sorry. So the children there the children with cancer had to go through the MRI, and they were afraid. So this is the MRI machine. So they were afraid. So what they did is the design thinkers design, just show the next animation. They design space exploration so that when the children goes in, she has to not move. If she doesn't move, then there'll be sound of rocket launching. The moment she moves, it will stop. So all this helps to create a good environment. And in fact, it was so successful that hospitals can order GE products with teams. I want a pirate adventure team. I want a space team. So it's an orderable product. Previously, it was just an experiment. So it's an orderable product with GE. And then
and so one of the things I learned from you as part of this with the empathy bit in the beginning is really getting out in the field, right? And
yes.
so from what I learned about this and some other examples that we've studied, that when you get out in the field and you see a child be scared and we have to abort the test, and they have to reschedule it, and it puts a burden on the families, you really, the designers really thought, well, shoot, how can we solve this problem? And it was like, these are kids, let's make it fun. Let's make it a game. Let's make it so that they want to do it. And in fact, the one story, they came back after they did this, and when they were testing it and prototyping it, and one of the children said, "Mommy, can I do it again?"
Yes.
It's like, what a difference in the experience for, the child and the family going through this, which is already stressful, already emotional, to have to take your child to the hospital and, put them in an MRI machine, imagine. So I just think, this one just really hits me in the heart.
Yeah. Can you go back to the previous one? So previous slide.
Sure.
Not the previous one. Sorry. Okay. So just very quickly. So Airbnb, when Airbnb started, they were going to fail. So what they did a design thinking process, and they got their clients or the people offering their houses to take nicer photos. So that was a design thinking process that went into it. And when Netflix became successful, they were looking at their competitors. So they found out that people do not want to go to the store to rent DVDs or videotapes. So they found this solution where you can just do it online, you can subscribe online, and everything is streaming. So SAP and IBM, we know already. Okay, then the other one is this Embrace Little Lotus. This was a project where they wanted to build the incubator for babies in Nepal. So they found out that there were a lot of deaths because of this lack of incubators. So they came out with a design, and turned out that they came out with a design that did not need any power. They just used a sachet that they put in boiling water to warm it up and slid it into the warmer and warm it up. The initial design called for electricity, but they found that a lot of places in Nepal did not have electricity. So now they've come out with this product. And although this is a non-profit, So what they're doing now is they've come up with newer products. And what they do is that every part of the profit of these newer products go into supporting this non-profit organization. So it's a very valuable initiative that they're doing here. So this is also another idea where with little resource, you can design products, even though you don't have power.
Yeah, and this one again came from, actually going out into the field and really understanding what was happening in Nepal with, the death rates for infants and, the conditions that the families were in and how it all worked. And that was a big reason for the design the successful design that they ultimately created. So yeah, super, super amazing example. And again, it just hits you right in the heart. So how about another example that's maybe not as, not going to make me cry, JK? How about this one?
Okay, so this is WeWork. WeWork is a shared space, a working space. So what they did is they designed places, workspaces that you could buy or rent just 1 or 2 seats. So for small businesses that don't have to invest a lot of money into large spaces. So they use empathic design. They use space as an experience. So they make the place to work like a bar, a place to rest. They even have places that you can take a quick nap before you work again. And you make it such a way that people don't mind working 24 hours there. It's like your own home. So this is all about service design, and they use a lot of design thinking in this process. So this is a photo of WeWork in Shanghai in China. Look at it. It's not a working space, right? It's look like somebody's grand mansion, right?
Right. Yeah. And I've been to WeWorks. I work with a startup in Philadelphia, and I see some of you here on the line are Philadelphians. And it's a wonderful space that it feels very comfortable, and it's very fun to go to, and definitely, helps us innovate when, when I go see them. So that's a lot of fun. Now, how about these guys? Nobody's ever heard of this company before.
So let's see whether people can guess where this is. So actually these are all Starbucks cafes, right? So Starbucks, when it started, it was just an ordinary cafe. People go in and sit. Now they're creating an experience, right? People go to Starbucks not really for their coffee, more for their experience, a place to hang out, a place to look good, a place to meet people. And Starbucks' intent in life is, of course, to create a perfect cup of coffee, of course, because they are in the coffee business, and customer satisfaction. And they have this concept of a third place. So they only want people to go to 3 places: home, as everyone has a home; work; and Starbucks. Nowhere else. They don't want people to go anywhere else. So this is a place to meet. Yes.
Yeah. And then when work was eliminated, I had people, joining from Starbucks because they were like, I have to get out of the house, and they couldn't go to work. And so when Starbucks opened, there were people joining. I'm like, what is all that background noise? Somebody put themselves on mute. And they were like, I'm at the Starbucks. I was dying, and I needed a new place. So that was really interesting, I thought. So, so how can design thinking help us in project land? If we didn't have enough ideas so far, let's spell it out maybe a little bit more even, JK.
Yeah. So as I alluded to earlier, right? Design thinking is very useful when there's a lot of uncertainty, complex design. So in the VUCA world that we are in today, right? VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity in everything we do. Now the pandemic has aggravated the situation, right? So in this situation and then in the midst of this, we also have to do digitalization. We have to transform organizations. So Don and I came up with this code, and we say that design thinking helps solve problems in a way that satisfies real needs simply and as quickly as possible in the midst of all this VUCA and digitalization.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is we didn't aim to create a quote. There was a different quote on the slide, and we were talking about it. And we decided to eliminate that one based on our conversation and our collaboration in preparation for today, about how the world is, and Project Land definitely is all of these things, all the time, especially as you grow in your career as a project manager. You have less answers, not more. You have more complexity, you have more uncertainty, in your projects, and even more volatility in the marketplace, that you have to respond to all the time. So, so we just sort of arrived on this statement that's felt a little bit more accurate, at least, according to our conversation and preparation for this.
Yeah, and yeah, I would also suggest to all of us here is that, when someone comes to you with a problem statement that is very ambiguous, like, I want to get more sales, or I want to feel better, I want to make this project move faster. It's so ambiguous, right? It's okay. Instead of saying, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't think I can solve your problem. Instead of saying that, let's sit down. I want to sort of, quote unquote, empathize with you, understand the problem. And maybe you come up with a different problem statement that is probably easy to solve, and you help to guide them through the process and define it more clearly so that you can have a better solution, rather than something that's ambiguous, unclear, and you're not so sure how to get there, right? That also leads to this slide, which is about how to become design thinkers, embrace complexity and take challenges. So the problem seems complex, but as you ask more and you inquire more, it gets simplified along the way. When you didn't have to do anything, you're just redefining the problem, right? And you collaborate with people of different skill set. You build creative confidence. Creativity can be developed, and through our workshops, we will help you develop that confidence and creativity. We have an exercise where we give you 30 circles, just blank circles, and you can draw out whatever. And whoever can do the most in 1 minute is most creative. But of course, you can do a few, right? So that helps you to build that creative confidence. And there's also, you have to practice empathy. So by nature, we are human, right? We are social animals. So by nature, we have. But it's just that sometimes we have these preconceived ideas that suppress our empathy. So you use inquiry and be curious, like I mentioned earlier, beginner's mindset, and you probe, explore, and you use visuals. So there are a lot of visuals that we use in our workshop, and be solution focused and be positive, right? Focus on the solution, not on getting there, but the end journey.
Yeah, and definitely, one of the things that I love to share is that when we're in Project Land, we need positive attitude, we need persistence, and we need to be ready to solve problems. So all of those P's come into play in Project Land as well. And so I love it that you end on a positive note here on this slide.
Yeah, when I was doing this slide, Dawn was saying, hey, some of these were actually bullet points in my project manager slides.
Absolutely true. So speaking of, when we did our vacation scenario, in the PMI Singapore bit, and you had me on the hot seat, one of the things I like to do is scuba dive. So I just want to know, if you want to dive deeper, please ask your questions so that while we have Design Thinking Guru JK here on the line, we can get your questions answered live. So let me know if you've got any questions, go ahead and type them in. And while they're coming in, I can let you know next about how to claim your PDUs, what kind of PDUs you can get for tonight. And also, if you happen to be in Singapore, we're working on Vietnam possibly for 2023 as well. And if you'd like to do a workshop with us live, we'd love to dive deeper with you in Project Land and design thinking with us together. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot. You'll get even more PDUs if that's you. And certainly, we focus on for project people. So if you are a PMP, you can get, it looks like we're at 45 minutes, so you'll be able to up this to 0.75 and claim strategic and business management PDU 0.75. So you can do that. And if you want to join us more in Project Land for more things like this, please follow Project Guru Academy so that we can invite you to join us again for another LinkedIn Live coming up. We're planning on having Coach Crystal, who's an amazing trainer, very fun, very lively. We're planning on having her in a few months. And also, you can already view International Man of Mystery Hans, who's also an amazing instructor. He did emotional intelligence in Project Land, and that is live and available on Project Guru Academy for free, as it was a LinkedIn Live just like this one. So you can check that out and get more free PDUs from International Man of Mystery Hans. And you can learn why I call him that. And definitely we have boot camps coming up. If you'd like to get your PMP, let us know. We can shoot you some more information about that. Crystal's weekend classes are coming up this weekend. Hans has Saturdays coming up in August. So let us know about that. Again, I mentioned I need help with my book. And if you'd like to become a Book Insider VIP, I'd love to have you for free. And get your name in a book as well. So let us know if you want to do that. And I see that Ricardo, our producer, has already put the links in the chat. If you have Udemy Business through your employer, you can get my new Udemy course, Project Management and Agile Smart Tips, which are 5-minute videos. It's like my best of track for free if you have Udemy Business. If you don't worry. We have a special referral code, and the first few videos are free as well. You can check it out on Udemy. So check out the referral code link that Ricardo put out there under Project Guru Academy. So that's just about all we have for tonight. Just want to check for any more live questions that we can take. Looks like we covered everything for now. I want to thank you everyone so much for being here. Please share the recording with folks. It'll be available here on LinkedIn as soon as Ricardo gets it edited and up there, but it should be available very quickly. And thank you so much, JK, for sharing your wisdom with us about design thinking and having a fun conversation here to this morning for you and tonight for me here in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone, or a great day if you're in Asia. Bye for now.